Hello, podcast listeners. We know podcasts are a great way to catch up on a program that you may have missed on KSJE, and it's provided as a free service of this radio station. But you know, KSJE is now listener-supported, and so while you enjoy this podcast, we hope that you'll also take some time to join KSJE. Become a member today. It's quite easy to do. Just go to our website at ksje.com/support and pick the level of support that best matches your budget. Thanks again for listening. Here's your podcast. And joining me here in Studio A, again from Farmington Municipal Schools, Superintendent Cody Diehl is here with me for the last visit of the calendar year, Mr. Diehl, but who's counting, right?
Man, I cannot believe how fast it goes.
Right, here we are in December, no kidding.
What are we, 1 week from Christmas?
Just about, that's right. So very, very true. But there's lots to share about things that are going on at Farmington Schools, so we're so glad that you made some time to come in and visit with me about some of the things that have been going on. So thank you for doing that. Let's get right to it.
Well, thanks for having us.
You bet.
Always a pleasure.
Well, I appreciate that, and we know it's a commitment. So
Yep.
We'll start with your theater folks, right?
Yeah, it feels like Piedra Vista wins the state one-act competition regularly. But yes, congratulations to Mr. Tyler Gleason and the Piedra Vista High School Advanced Theater class on winning the state NMA one-act production competition with their piece, The Yellow Boat.
Right.
So, yeah, when we honored them at our school board meeting last week, and
Nice.
so yeah, good stuff.
Very good, and I appreciate Mr. Gleason. He sent some students over from the Yellow Boat to talk about the play on the show in advance of the performances. So it sounded like a really cool play.
Yeah, they do good work.
And obviously the judges thought so too. So
Yes.
it won first place.
Well, we talk about fine arts programs, and I think
Yeah.
probably 8 or 9 consecutive years, best community for fine arts and music. So, the partnerships that we have, Daniel Fear and at the district does a great job of supporting those programs along with Isaac Gamboa, and so good stuff. Whether it's theater,
Right.
the arts, music, visual arts, and you see quite often our own kids producing games for our athletic, events or broadcasting. So
Right. I've
very proud.
been watching a little bit of FHS Live, of course, and there's
Yeah.
Panther Vision from your other high school, and
Yes.
so lots of talent of your students, and so it's great to celebrate that. And it's a commitment, I would say, too, from the board and you to fund these things, right? I mean, not every district has all of these options for students.
Yeah, and so our Milo McMinn, our CTE director and our Career and College Readiness director, does a great job of supporting those programs through Perkins grants and other funds. But yeah, a lot of time and effort, as you know, obviously. It's what you do daily.
Well, we
but
just throw
we're-
this together every
we're
morning,
gonna-
but there's other folks put more work into it.
We're trying to replace you, right? We're
Yeah,
we're
right.
trying to create opportunities for students, and
Bring 'em
whether
on.
it's in front of the camera, behind the
That's right.
camera, the technical aspect of it. So, yeah, we're happy, very proud of those pathways and what they're doing at both of those schools.
Right. It's nice to see, and certainly I'm not going to be here forever. We all
Yeah.
know that, but just calm down, kids. Okay, it's not, but that's good. So congrats to them.
Yes.
Very, very good to see that.
Thank you.
And then also, you want to talk a little bit about your Administrator of the Year.
Yeah, Dr. Kelly Palos was named Administrator of the Year by the New Mexico Music Educators Association, and I'm really proud of our curriculum department in general for aligning topics and curriculum and providing instructional strategies beyond math and language arts, right? That's how we're judged, or that's that one test a year that gets thrown out there that very important, obviously, but I'm really proud of the music departments and of course Dr. Kelly Palos for supporting those programs and helping guide them through their instruction and what they do on a daily basis. So yeah, congratulations to her, and recognized her last week at the board meeting as well. So
Very good.
Very, very proud of the work that she does.
Yeah, and nice to see that recognition from a statewide organization too, right?
Yeah,
As you said.
yeah, no, for sure. And once again, Mr. Fear being involved in those associations and pushing our programs. And, Mr. Tabota, our public information officer, does a fabulous job with him and Lauren Gonzalez of highlighting really good things happening in Farmington schools.
Right. Very true,
Yeah.
which is great. Next, a Native American fashion show held recently.
Yeah, so this is a great event, and I think if you go onto our Facebook page and our social media, you'll see some actually videos and kids of all ages. We had the Native American Heritage Month last month, and so we had a lot of cool stuff going on. But this is really the highlight, or a highlight of the month. And so I want to thank our Native American Programs Director, Dr. Garrity, and all of our Native American youth advisors and those folks who put a lot of time and effort into it. Thank our schools for participating. I think we had Fry Bread Day at all of our schools, so that's always a hit, right?
That should be every day, I'm just saying over here, but okay.
Yeah, that's right. I think we kicked off here at San Juan College. We had a Native American Heritage Festival.
That's right.
Which was well attended and good stuff. And then throughout the month, they had dress-up days and, celebrating, Moccasin Day and Native Bling Day and some of those fun events. So
right.
It's good stuff.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very nice to see. Excellent. And then the final wrap-up here, not the final wrap-up, but a wrap-up of some other topics here, kind of potpourri, I guess, is what I would say, right?
Yeah, we got a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things to celebrate. New Mexico Vistas, or our data came out, and one thing that we're really proud of, we had schools that were rated in need of support, and now all of our schools are out of that rating. So 13 schools are now rated as traditional, and then we have four of our schools that have achieved spotlight status, and those are Country Club Elementary, Mesa Verde, Northeast, and of course here at San Juan College High School. In the top 25% statewide. And I told our administrators at our last monthly meeting that we strive for all of our schools to be spotlight schools. We're really proud of those 4 schools that came out of designation. We still have 1 school in designation, Rosanate High School, for our graduation rate there. But ironically, they were also recognized for improving it.
Oh.
Well, so as a school of excellence. So ironically, but anyways, we're really proud of that, and congratulations to all of our schools for the hard work that they put in and are getting recognized. So,
right. Now take us through that just a little bit, because these are terms and categories that the state puts these schools in based on how well students are doing and graduation rates and things like that? Yeah,
so and it varies depending on the level, right? But
sure.
There's a lot of metrics out there, and I'm not really sure that anybody can explain them well. But
maybe the PED can, but who knows? Let's hope so.
But we take it with a grain of salt, but we also like the recognition. But most importantly, I think when you talk about how schools are doing, there's math proficiency, reading proficiency, and science proficiency that are key factors of that rating. And so I would encourage people, parents, educators, community members, to go on to that website. It's newmexicovistas.org, so nmvistas.org, and you can type in any school, you can type in our district, and see all sorts of data, whether it's around attendance, proficiency, and so I would like to talk a little bit about proficiency. I know we ran through the first few slides quickly, and this last one always seems to be the end of the show. But let's talk a little bit about our proficiency. In Farmington schools, our proficiency in math was 23%. So 23% of our students are proficient in math. We don't like that number.
Right.
In reading, 35% of our students are proficient. We don't like that number. And in science, 37% of our students are proficient, and we don't like that number either. I've challenged our curriculum I've challenged everybody in the whole system to improve, to move the needle, right? And so we have a goal of that 85% of our students are going to be proficient on our critical concepts, and we believe that if we can get 85% of our students proficient on our topics and our critical concepts, that those numbers will grow.
Sure, I think so.
Yeah, for sure. And a couple things that I do want to highlight is that 36% of our students were within 2% of being proficient in math.
Okay.
So 36% within 2%. If we can move those, then we go from 23% to 59%.
Right.
So we're close, and I feel like some of the really good work that our teachers along with our curriculum department, has done is it's about to be seen, I believe, right?
And I guess that's a little bit difficult with a black and white type of a gauge like that. Like,
sure.
That you have so many meeting proficiency, but it doesn't tell you how many you're so close.
It doesn't, right? We just get that final number,
right?
And we don't like that number, and
right.
So we want to obviously improve that, but we also have to remember that that is one data point on one day.
Right.
Right. So that 23% of our students were proficient on the assessment that the state gives on one day. So we really want to ensure that our curriculum or our topics are aligned to that, obviously, but we are in charge of what happens every day in our schools, right? And if we say that 85% of our students are going to be proficient on what we've determined to be critical concepts, that we believe that that number on that one data point is going to grow. But we're not going to hang everything that we do on that one day, right?
Sure.
And then going back to reading, 30% of our students were within 2% of being proficient. So if we keep doing what we're doing, and I have a good feeling about the direction that we're headed.
Gotcha.
Really do.
Headed in the right direction.
We're headed in the right direction, for sure.
Right.
Yeah, and I spent time last week with and we've talked about our framework of high reliability schools.
Yes.
And our levels, and the two big ones in the middle of effective teaching in every classroom, and then of course a guaranteed and viable, equitable curriculum, ensuring that all of our students are getting a fair education. They're getting the same, right, regardless of what school that they go to. So. Dr. Warwick, who works with Marzano Associates, who is an author of HRS, was in our district last week, 2 weeks ago, and had a lot of really good things to say, and just validated that we are moving in the right direction.
Gotcha. Very good.
Very proud.
Congratulations, and again, that moving in the right direction. I think certainly you're probably in pretty good company. There are a lot of schools in New Mexico that have numbers similar to yours, I would think, or even lower. Proficiency levels that are striving to raise those up like you are.
Sure, and that's always the challenge, right? And that's the challenge from the public education department, and that's why we're here, right? It's for student outcomes, right? And to ensure that our students are prepared to, when they walk across that stage, that they're prepared to do anything that they choose to do, anything that they want to do. So we're also proud of our graduation rates. There, as you see on the screen, right? So, and if you look at the statewide graduation rate, we are above it, and we're proud of that. But I think more importantly, and I think our principals are really starting to recognize this, or wanting this as well, when we talk about pathways and students being prepared for when they leave our system, that we want that number to grow, but yet we want to ensure that whether it's 86%, 90%, whatever that number is, that they all are prepared to move on.
Right.
That's our job.
Right. Sure.
Right.
Very true. I just want, for the radio audience who can't see the numbers, I just want to mention them.
Sure.
Farmington High School graduation rate is 86.2%. Pedro Vista High School rate is 87.3%. San Juan College High School graduation rate is 95%. The statewide graduation rate in New Mexico is 76.7%. So again, you're all those three schools are above that. Rocinante High School is at 54.2%, which you mentioned is something that you are working on. Yeah,
and that's a unique challenge in the way that they calculate the graduation rate. It's, when I enter the ninth grade, I become part of a cohort, right? And if I transfer to a different district, a different school, a piece of there's a percentage of that goes with me, right? So at Rocinante High School, it's a very unique place, and so there's a lot of factors that come into that. But I can say that once kids start attending Rocinante High School, if we looked at that number a little differently, I believe the graduation rate is a lot higher, right? The number of students who actually come to Rocinante as a sophomore, as a junior, or even as a senior, I would say we graduate well more than 54% of those students.
Gotcha.
But it's just the way that it's calculated and where those students are coming from, and sometimes we get students at Rocinante High School who did not graduate in 4 years in that cohort, right? So that doesn't mean that we're still not going to work hard to get them a diploma, but there's a factor that goes into that. If a student doesn't graduate in 4 years and they graduate in 5, different percentages.
Right.
I said it at the start of the show, we're not really sure how we determine traditional status, spotlight status. Graduation rate's another hard.
Does that go into the mix, I guess?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. In
Yeah.
terms of whether they're traditional or spotlight, but it's just a complicated system to get that percentage.
Gotcha. And I guess, again, from the state's perspective, right, when schools are performing at whatever level, that determines maybe, as you said, goes into that, determining that status. And I guess if you're not at traditional status and maybe do need some extra assistance or help, that triggers maybe some more programs or funding maybe that can come to help you get to that traditional level?
Sure. So we, with all of our schools that weren't, that were in need of support, there is funding and support from the from the public education department that comes with that.
Got it.
And some different accountability within our annual plans that we write, that we submit to the public education department, along with our 2 90-day plans. So every school has a 90-day plan for the fall semester and a 90-day plan for the spring semester, all around what we've talked about today in improving student outcomes.
Right. Very good.
Yeah.
Sounds like it. And that's the idea, I guess, to have everybody aligned towards the same goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to ensure that regardless of, and I've said this before on your show, that regardless of where our students go to school, we want them to have the same opportunity, right? Whether whatever neighborhood you live in, we want to ensure that 3rd grade at your school, you're getting the same great quality education at the other schools.
Right. Well, and again, that's what public school is all about, right? You don't have enrollment policies. Anyone that wants to come to school can come to school.
Yep.
So
Yep. No,
that's
for sure.
important. Next is this EDIA attendance tool.
Yeah. Speaking of EDIA, speaking of coming to school,
Yeah, right.
one of our initiatives is to improve attendance, and we believe that if students are in school, they're obviously going to learn, right? Or have a better opportunity to learn. There's a lot of things that have changed in public schools since COVID, and how we, what we can do to educate a student, how we educate students, and I think a lot of students found that maybe they didn't need to come to school to continue learning. But with that being said, we're partnering with a company called EDIA to have better communication with our families in regards to students and when they're not in school. So it's an AI platform.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So we have communication that goes back and forth. So, for example, if my son is not in school first period, I get a text message. And
Right.
we can go back and forth with a bot or an AI, and we've gathered some pretty good data on why our kids aren't in school using this. And really what it amounts to is instead of having one person making 600 phone calls, I'm having one person really concentrate on those that have issues that we need to support better. Some of those common, my students at the dentist today. So the app, thank you, upload the excuse, and then it'll change in the system.
I see.
So we're just trying to be more efficient with how we support students who are absent.
Right.
And the ones that really need support, drilling down and finding out why and helping them overcome those barriers.
Gotcha.
So-
And I guess could some of the reasons be, I missed the bus and my mom
Sure.
and dad can't drive me to school, so I'm just not coming today. Is that an issue you hear about sometimes?
Yeah, absolutely. And so what that does for us in that communication, that two-way communication with the text messages, is that it allows us to provide a different type of support.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before this solution, we didn't have that excuse.
You just weren't in school.
We just weren't
Kid
in
wasn't
school.
in school. Right.
And now we have, and some of the things that we've pointed out using this is that we have some issues on our end that we need to clean up too. When I send a text message home and the parent responds by saying, no, my student is in school, they are taking an assessment like the ASVAB test. Well, why didn't we get that in time? Where the text message was sent. So it's holding us accountable as well
Got
for
it,
our
right.
procedures.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
Yeah.
And from when a student is absent from school, how many of those, I guess, reaches the level of truancy, I guess?
So we have you used to have a compulsory attendance law. Now it's Attendance for Success Act. It's really intervention based. But the numbers that we really focus on are chronic attendance, right? So 10% or more of the time.
Yeah, I see.
So we have 180 school days. Once you hit 18 days of absences, you're chronically absent, and then the level of intervention,
Right.
increases. Now, granted, we're only in school for the first semester, or let's just say the first quarter. We have 45 days. If you've missed 4 days, you're already chronically absent. So we don't wait till that 18th absent. It's based off
Sure.
of percentages of how many days we've already been in school.
Right. And does the system, I guess, alert you or kind of track that? I guess it must, right?
So this particular system doesn't, but what this system does, we have other systems that it ties to.
I see.
For early warning systems.
Okay.
Yeah.
To help to figure out
Yeah.
what's going on.
This is just really a great two-way communication platform, which gives us more real-time communication.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess to identify if there is a problem, maybe before it gets to even a more serious problem, I
Yeah.
guess is what I'm thinking too. If you have early notice,
For sure.
you can maybe help in some other ways.
Yeah, we're very reactive in certain things, and this is a proactive solution to improve communication among our schools and our families about why students aren't in school, and if they're not, is there something that we can do? Is there a barrier? Is there a way that we can support the family and help get them there?
Right. Got it. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's really
Makes
good.
sense. And the use of AI is, I guess, that's the future. I guess we're here in some cases.
In some cases, it is, and the same company, the EDIA company, going back to our math proficiency, we're partnering with the same company in regards to a math solution as well, which doesn't replace. And I don't want people to think for a second that it's going to replace a teacher, but it's a tool that our teachers can use where they can provide assignments on topics or problem where students are going to get immediate feedback using this AI tool. And I'm sure you've seen or heard of Khan Academy or things like that, right? It's developed by mathematicians, so it's a good solid foundation. But I can assign my class and at different levels, depending on where students are. So it's just a good opportunity for support for teachers.
Gotcha.
It's immediate feedback, and students are getting immediate feedback. Whereas the old traditional way of passing your papers and I'll have them back to you in a couple days after I grade them is no longer a thing.
Got it.
So
Right.
I'm going to get immediate feedback on whether I'm doing it well or if I need support.
Yeah,
So,
that
good
makes
stuff,
sense.
yeah.
And for things like math, I guess too, if you miss a step in trying to solve an equation or whatever, that messes up your whole day.
Yeah.
And if you can find out what you missed right away, that helps you then to learn that, I suppose, right? And what you're missing.
Yeah, for sure. And it's the same type of thing where, right, a student can ask questions, type in questions. It can be and get answers back verbally or via written text. And you're right, it is. It's immediate feedback. And I've one teacher with 25 kids in a classroom. It's going to take me a long time to get to all of them and provide individual feedback, whereas this is automatic.
Right. Very interesting.
Cool.
Very good. Well, Mr. Diehl, as we get ready for winter break, is there any advice you have for parents or students about that winter break, being away from school, to kind of stay fresh and stay up on things and enjoy their break, but also remember the learning part of it?
Well, they all have the tools, and just as a lifelong learner, keep reading, keep listening to podcasts, whatever it is that you do to continue that process and to continue learning. But take a break, right? I mean, that's why we have them. I mean, spend time with families and or your family and enjoy the people around you, and that's why we have these breaks, is so we can take a deep breath and regroup and start another semester strong.
Very good. Good advice, I think.
Well, I hope.
I
That's
think
what
so.
I'm going to do.
There you
right?
go.
We're going to take a break.
I
right?
take your own advice. I think I
Yeah.
will too. So that makes sense to me.
It's
But-
I've said it over and over. Teachers too, right? the job is exponentially harder than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and the accountability of it. And I'm just very proud of the work that our teachers, our administrators are doing for our students. And with them being in the forefront of everyone's mind, right? It's all about student outcomes, and but it's a tough job now. It's always been a tough job, but just the world that we live in now, it's a little different, right? So a lot of things fast-paced. So I'm really proud of our administrators and our teachers and the work that they do, and I hope they know that they're valued by not only me, but our school board and our community.
Very good. Well, and it sounds like to me you're saying that they've earned this break.
They have. There's no doubt. They've earned it.
Very good. You too. Thank you, Mr. Diehl, for coming in. Good to see you. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you in January.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Okay. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's Cody Diehl from Farmington School Superintendent, my guest this morning on KSJE. Did you enjoy that podcast? We hope that you did. And if you did, share it with your friends. And if you really want to keep podcasts like this coming, please support KSJE. You can do it easily online at ksje.com.